For over a decade, you've had all your playthroughs controlled by invisible rules and rituals, and you didn't even know about it. You attack the chest. You kill the dogs first. You know the pain of sending a friend to their doom, and you would rather die 1,000 times than harm a single hair on his head. These aren't just traditions. They're lessons etched in millions of bloodstains. These are the unwritten rules of Dark Souls, and for every rule, there is a punishment. Let the judgment begin. These are not suggestions, they're fundamental laws, carved into the world by the ghosts of countless failures. This is the baseline, the price of entry into a hostile world. To break these rules is to learn through trauma, a mistake you will never make again. The first and most sacred law of survival: never open a chest without attacking it first. Opening a chest untested is a fool's gamble. While newcomers from the lands between may not understand, in Lordran, treasure chests eat the unwary. These creatures, these mimics, are a fundamental lesson in paranoia. The only way to reveal them is to strike every chest you find. Don't skip a single one. Your luck will run out. The first death to a mimic is a core memory. The moment the game teaches you that everything, even the promise of reward, wants you dead. If you break this rule and gamble with your life, you'll start every FromSoft game from now on with the deprived class, or its equivalent. If you wish to act with such arrogance, you will begin every journey with nothing. The second law governs not your life, but your sanity. Always send your elevators back. You believe this next attempt is the one. It's not. You will die again and again. When you leave the elevator at the bottom of its shaft, you're not saving time. You're giving the gift of frustration to your future self. That 7-second wait becomes an eternity when your patience is worn thin. It takes a second to send it back. An easy act of mercy on yourself. If you refuse this simple act of self-preservation, you are forbidden from using shortcuts for the next 10 bosses. You'll take the long way. You clearly don't appreciate efficiency. The third law is a mandate of combat. You kill the dogs first. In any crowd of enemies, there are threats, there are problems, and then there are dogs. Dogs are an absolute nightmare. Their speed, erratic movement, and aggression are engineered for one purpose: to break your discipline and punish your focus. It doesn't matter if a Black Knight looms behind them, the dogs must die. They are the top of the target priority. Always. A true veteran never lets them live. Break this rule, and the game will deliver its own punishment. You will die, and you will deserve it. The fourth law is a warning. Do not enter the Tomb of Giants at the start of the game. Those who have made this mistake are now reliving a unique trauma. This isn't about the difficulty of the skeletons or pinwheel. This is about a design trap that will soft lock your game. To escape the tomb, you require the Lord Vessel, an item granted after Anor Londo that allows you to warp between bonfires. Without it, you're trapped in a vertical maze with no clear path out. The climb back is a nightmare of confusing paths and endless skeletal hordes. It's technically possible to get out, but it's so complicated and annoying that you might as well give up. If you make this catastrophic error, your punishment is to reset your game. The save file is a lost cause. The fifth law separates the veteran from the novice. You check your corners. A Souls veteran clears a room like a Spec Ops operator, with surgical precision. A novice walks blindly into the center and is brutally murdered for it. This discipline is the difference between a successful playthrough and breaking your controller. With Miyazaki, surprise mechanics means an enemy hidden in every nook and cranny, waiting to kill you. Skeletons are a best case scenario. The first time a player turns a corner and is assaulted by a Black Knight, a lesson in terror is learned. If you break a rule this simple, your punishment is to get jump scared. Leave a like and subscribe right now, or you will be missing out on some of the best content on the entire site. And while you're at it, you might as well join the Discord in the description to hang out with a bunch of awesome Elden Ring players just like you. Alright, back to the video. The next law governs the most volatile currency in the kingdom, and the arrogance that loses it. You spend your souls immediately. Walking through a level with enough souls for 5 levels is not bravery. It is a sin of hubris. We've all lost a fortune in a moment of carelessness, but the lesson must be learned. The reason players hoard souls is often laziness, a refusal to travel to a bonfire. In an age of convenient checkpoints, This is inexcusable. If you casually carry tons of souls, you forfeit the right to ever complain about being overleveled. Furthermore, your penance is to rest at the same bonfire 150 times in a single sitting. Contemplate your carelessness. This law governs discovery. You hit every suspicious wall. To survive, you need every advantage, especially the hidden ones. An illusory wall can conceal a weapon, a new area, or even one of the greatest bosses in the franchise. The few seconds it takes to test a wall is an investment that can alter the course of your entire playthrough. To ignore this rule is to embrace ignorance. As punishment, you are forbidden from using any items, weapon, or armor discovered behind an illusory wall for the remainder of your playthrough. This law is essential for knowledge. You talk to every NPC until their dialogue repeats. An NPC's words hold quests and critical information. Missing a single line of dialogue can lock you out of an entire quest line and leave you at a severe disadvantage. The loop of a repeated line is your only confirmation that you've extracted all available knowledge. To be lazy here is a self-inflicted wound. If you break this rule, you're forbidden from speaking to any NPC for the remainder of the game. You've chosen to be mute. You learn to check for mimics and send back the elevator, but survival is just permission to die more slowly. The next set of laws separate the prey from the predator. These rules are not about avoiding death. They're about mastering it. These are the unwritten rules of combat. The first and most essential law: do not get greedy. You think you can get in one more hit. You can't. Wait for the next opening. This is a lesson taught through pain. After patiently landing 2 light attacks per opening for the entire fight, the sudden belief that you can land a third hit is a stupid assumption that will lead to your death. Once you discover the safe rhythm of an encounter, you stick to it without exception. Some refuse to learn. For those people, the punishment is to defeat Pontiff Sullivan 10 times in a row. He will teach you the lesson. The second law is about tactical positioning. Get behind your enemy. Most creatures are significantly less effective at dealing with threats from their rear. The front of a boss is a kill zone of combos and grabs. The back is a relative safe haven with fewer, more predictable attacks. To fight a boss head-on is to make the battle exponentially harder than it needs to be. If you insist on fighting from the front, you have created your own punishment. Have fun. The third law is the law of movement. Never fat roll. You have chosen to play a game where the primary means of survival is the dodge. To be so over-encumbered that your roll becomes a clumsy, slow flop is a tactical sin. Unless you're committed to a very specific poise-heavy build, in Dark Souls 1, the fat roll nullifies your defensive capability. It turns a life-saving maneuver into a death sentence. If you engage in this behavior, your punishment is to defeat the next 5 bosses without rolling at all. You clearly don't know how to use a feature correctly. The fourth law is the art of the duel. Isolate every enemy. Every single Black Knight is a challenging but manageable duel. 3 Black Knights are an impossible nightmare. The series' reputation for difficulty is built on groups of enemies. Master the art of pulling one enemy at a time from a pack, and the game transforms into a series of winnable dances. If you don't take advantage of this magic, your punishment is to kill every single enemy in your next playthrough. No running past. You will learn the importance of fighting on your own terms. You've mastered survival. You've honed your combat. You think you understand the game. You don't. There are forces at play beyond your control. Rules written into the very code of the universe that you are powerless to defy. This isn't a judgment of your skill. This is a revelation of the truths that govern your every playthrough. The first is the law of good balance. A good boss attempt is always followed by 3 terrible ones. You'll get the boss down to a single hit. Then on your next attempt, you will be instantly killed without landing a single blow. This is a universe humbling you, reminding you that your success was a fluke. It happens to everyone. There is no punishment, because there are no exceptions. We all suffer together. The second is the law of shared experience. You have never had an original thought. Everyone waits for the skeletons on the bridge and the catacombs of Carthus before breaking it. This isn't about survival. It's a ritual, a communal act of skeletal genocide that must be performed. If you don't take the chance to obliterate the boneheads every time you cross that bridge, you are forbidden from ever using it again. You are a fake Ashen One. The third is the law of the first gatekeeper. Ludek's Gundyr becomes trivial after the first victory. The first time, he is a wall that can take hours. Every subsequent time, he is a simple formality, often defeated on the first try. Even if your first victory was a narrow escape, it's a universal constant. If you somehow break this rule and Ludek's Gundyr is still hard for you, you are a noob. That's your punishment. So you can fight and you can survive, but that doesn't make you one of us. To be a true member of the Dark Souls community requires more than skill. It requires adherence to a code, an unspoken agreement that governs our identity, our fashion, and our honor. The following are not laws of the game, they're laws of the culture. Break them, and you will be judged not as a novice, but as an outcast. The first is the doctrine of identity. You choose armor for fashion, not stats. Unless you're in Dark Souls 1, armor is cosmetic. These numbers exist to be ignored. If an armor set looks good, you wear it. If it doesn't, it's left behind. You will be dying repeatedly, so you must do it in style. For the beings who choose stats over fashion, you will play an entire Dark Souls 3 playthrough over encumbered. Your poor taste will be the burden you carry. The second is the doctrine of character growth. When in doubt, level endurance. Never level resistance. Endurance increases stamina, the resource for every action, and equip load. Resistance does almost nothing. Leveling resistance is the most worthless investment a player can make. If you put a single point into resistance, you're forbidden from leveling anything other than vigor for your next playthrough. The third doctrine is a vow of silence. You never admit to running a dex build. Strength and quality builds are for the worthy. A dex build is a secret shame that will see you shunned from any self-respecting friend group. One would rather admit to stealing lollipops from children than using a katana in Dark Souls 3. If you flaunt the title of Dex player, you require no punishment. You're a social outcast. The fourth doctrine is for your first journey. Your first playthrough will be melee only. New players who begin as mages are a sad sight. This series is designed around the brutal art of melee combat. You must learn the blade first. If you ignored this and became a mana licker on your first run, you are never allowed to use an Ashen Estus flask ever again. The fifth is a doctrine of progression. You never use the Master Key on your first playthrough of Dark Souls 1. The Master Key breaks the intended progression of the game, allowing you to sequence break and ruin the world design. To choose it on your first run is to taint the experience. If you commit this sin, uninstall the game. You're ruining it. The sixth doctrine is a pilgrimage. In every playthrough, you must acquire the Moonlight Greatsword. This weapon is a holy relic across all FromSoft games. It's your duty to seek it out and claim it every time. If you fail to do this, you must print out a picture of Hidetaka Miyazaki and kiss it 10 times. The seventh is the doctrine of herd mentality. On your first playthrough of Dark Souls 3, you're drawn to the Irithyll Straightsword. It's an observable phenomenon. Nearly every new player picks it up and dedicates their limited twinkling titanite to it. The reason for this magnetic pull remains a mystery. If you broke this rule and chose a different path, you receive a pat on the head for being original. We've judged your survival, your combat, your identity, but now we reach the end. These are the absolute most important non-negotiable laws in all of Dark Souls. These are the rules that define your legacy. To break them is to commit a cardinal sin against the community and the game itself. This is a final verdict. There are no appeals. The first is a rite of passage. On your first playthrough, you must kill every enemy at least once. No skipping. No running away. You must face every foe and learn what it's like to deal with them. This was an absolute law in the old days. If you didn't do this, your journey was incomplete. Go back now and begin a new playthrough where you kill every enemy. Make it right. The second is the law of the duel. Never attack a player who is emoting. In PvP, emotes are diplomacy. They are a sign of a player seeking a fair duel. To attack them mid-emote is a war crime. spitting in the face of honor. If you are one of these heathens who do this, you are forbidden from ever invading or being summoned into another player's game again. The third is a law of friendship. Never ever kill Andre the Blacksmith. You have few allies in this world. Andre is one of the most important. To attack him is to prove you are a psychopath. He is a friend. If you break this rule and kill Andre, delete your character. We don't want you. The fourth is a ritual. You always kill the crystal lizard at the start of Dark Souls 3. It is simply something that must be done. It's a good warm-up and a litmus test for a rusty player. If you don't kill the lizard, you must go straight to Ludex Gundyr. You aren't allowed to collect any of the secrets in the starting area. The fifth law is an indictment. Never play Dark Souls 2. That's the full rule. The sixth law is a test of character. You don't send Greyrat to Irithyll. Greyrat is a treasured friend who deserves happiness. Progressing his quest to this point sends him to his death. To wish this fate upon such a kind man is an act of sociopathy. If you are a monster who breaks this rule, you must out yourself in the comments. The community will decide your punishment. The final and most important unwritten rule is a trial of ambition. You must attempt the Dancer early. The Dancer of the Boreal Valley is an endgame boss, but she's accessible from the start. You won't beat her, but you have to try. Fighting her early is a rite of passage that forges a player into a veteran. If you ignored this rule, then you're gonna have to leave a like and subscribe to Through the Fog. Everyone else might as well too if you enjoyed this judgment. What rules did you break? If you perform any of the punishments, drop them in a Discord for a chance at a shoutout. Click the video on screen to see the unwritten rules of Elden Ring. And until next time, I'll see you through the fog.